Good morning, friends, family, and supporters of the Battleship Iowa and the National Museum of the Surface Navy. Today I'm going to mention a little bit about where I'm at. I'm down in the Lost at Sea in the Alfa Romeo Tango Art Exhibit Art Gallery area. You'll see a wonderful collection here behind me, as well as you'll see some modifications in this space. There was berthing here at one point. There would have been several sailors that slept in here and berthed in here while the ship was in service. We've done about 7,000 feet of space where we pulled out the berthing. You'll see overhead, we pretty much left it the same, but we do pull out the racks and turn it into usable museum space, as well as putting chairlifts down into this space for those with physical challenges to get here. As we do this, we look towards the future, the National Museum of the Surface Navy. We have about 25,000 square feet of space on board the ship that we can do exactly the same thing. I've been asked numerous times, why do we do something like this? And I look at it as a couple things. Number one, we'll never touch a historically accurate or a singular representative version of something. We won't touch CEC, we won't touch the wardroom, we won't touch the CPO mess, we won't tear out those spaces. But when you're talking berthing, there's over 2,000 racks on board the ship. And we have two choices. We either leave them be, and that means that space is going to deteriorate. And as it deteriorates, the ship deteriorates in that space, and that's something we don't want to do. So what we do is we turn it into usable, maintainable space by turning it into museum exhibits. And so we're going to do that with the National Museum of the Surface Navy. In fact, there's even some space up forward of the ship where we could put a 270-degree theater for the National Museum. Of course, that's going to come live in 2025, and I've mentioned numerous times we're working on our capital campaign right now. With that being said, we're in our first 5 meetings of the capital campaign, and we're going to start building and growing that. A shout out to our development team for working on that, as well as our board of directors. I've been asked about these programs, our add-on tours, the new President's Tour, the Lost at Sea, of course, Flight Simulator, the Harbor Cruise, the Gun Tour, and the Engineering Tour. What those do, and that add-on tour really creates value. It builds value for our visitors. And what we're trying to do is make sure our visitors experience the best possible part of the Iowa and also experience interaction with the existing crew, the new museum crew. And so those programs have really seen some traction in that space. And you know, I got to give a shout out to our tour department as well as our ticketing department for working on that. And I know we've got some growing pains over the next 4 to 6 months, but we're working through those. You'll also see Lost at Sea, or not Lost at Sea, I'm in Lost at Sea. You'll see the Life at Sea tour come alive in about 6 to 9 months. I've been asked when it comes to tours and tickets, how has the coronavirus affected us? Of course, we are a big destination for those visiting from China, but you know, we see fluctuation. So more recently, we did some ads in the local AAA travel magazine over the past 6 months, and we've seen a really big boost off of that. And so we're actually in January, even with the coronavirus thing going on, in January we were up in our attendance. In February we're a little bit down. Now, being a little bit down, yesterday was raining. So I looked at the numbers yesterday and it was quite a bit down year over year, and that's primarily due to rain. Whenever we see rain, we really get a huge reduction. So if it didn't rain yesterday, we would probably be slightly up. Field trips are in full swing, booking for spring and early summer, as well as our Camp Battleship program. Catherine Moreno in our group sales department has been booking those, and we're seeing a pickup in those areas, as well as our Day of Discovery program, which is the partnership program with LA Unified School District to bring kids down that have to experience the battleship, as well as many of them have never experienced the ocean in the rest of the area. So those are picking up. Those programs are picking up, and shout out to Roe and the education team, as well as Catherine for their work on that. Today, Reboot is hosted in the Chief Petty Officer Mess. Reboot is the Veteran to Civilian Transition Program. That's hosted today, and we're going to see a few other programs throughout the February and into March. CPO is going through a modification right now. Don't worry, we're not touching any of the fabric of it, but we're doing a few slight changes to it to allow those with physical challenges to get back to that area. And that was thanks in large part to a grant from Temkin in partnership with Reboot. So that's going on as we speak as well. We have a Black History event showing Invisible Warriors on February 25th. We're going to fly out the filmmaker to talk to the folks and talk to the crowd, and it's going to be a great showing of his Invisible Warriors. I urge you to go to pacificbattleship.com, our website, to go ahead and get your tickets for the February 25th event. That's going to be a great event and exciting, and I invite you to come down. Also on that day, we're doing an education event as well. to basically team up some sailors with students in a really unique social environment. So that's going to be during the day at lunchtime. Freedom of the Seas Gala for the National Museum of the Surface Navy. We just announced the date last week, June 27th. You'll see a save the date coming out on that if you haven't already. And that's going to be a great awards gala that we invite you to attend as well. And my last shout out is volunteer recruiting. All of this that you see here wouldn't have been possible without our great volunteer crew and our volunteer team. About 90% of the crew is volunteers, and they keep this place ticking every single day. I want to say thank you to our volunteers that make this happen. And with that being said, I encourage folks, if you haven't done it before, come down and volunteer. We have volunteers in pretty much every department on the ship, from marketing to accounting to operations and maintenance to security. You name it, we have volunteers, graphic design, marketing, IT. We have volunteers in every department aboard ship, and it's an opportunity. Don't think you just have to come down and chip paint and paint. It's an opportunity for you to come down and volunteer as well. And you know, even if you have a group, a youth group, a corporate group, those types of things, please come down and be part of our crew. You can do so by emailing volunteer@labattleship.com. That's Sue Schmidt, and she'd be happy to support you in that. With that being said, I wish you guys an amazing week, and look forward to talking to you guys next week. Have a great week and a weekend. Thank you.